The official sports voice of the Upstate fan. CBS Sports Radio live from the Free Odyssey.
You're offside.
This is Offsides with Mark Ryan.
Blunt, open, honest sports talk.
Do it for a feeling of satisfaction that you get right in here.
That's what it means to be an offsider. Are you bold enough for truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth.
Then this show is for you. Offsides with Mark Ryan.
This is
The Fan.
Upstate.
What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Truly do appreciate you making us part of your day each and every day. We thank you so much, my friends. Here's how you can be a part of the show. You can give us a ring at 844-FAN phone. That's 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. And the carpro.com text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. 4:40 p.m. today, we've got At.JJ Hardy and Panthers Culture. 5:20 p.m. today, we've got Lawton Squad and Clemson Sports Talk. I thought yesterday was Thursday, and I was calling Lawton Squad. Lawton, where are you, man? It's our weekly segment. You know why? Because we used to do the English shows on Thursday. So when Josh Tate is on and when Lawton Swan is on, I feel like it's the upset picks day on Thursday. I am confused. We've got Furman head coach Clay Hendricks joining us at 6 o'clock p.m. today. Now, Diesel, you tell me if this is okay. I would like to do a Furman ticket giveaway at 3:40 p.m. today this afternoon. What do you think?
Yeah, I got no problem with that at all. Heck yeah, let's go.
Let's do a Furman ticket giveaway at 3:40 p.m. this afternoon.
Mad Kraft will tell you, because he's one who I know has won tickets from us for Furman games. He has won the entry into the VIP lounge.
Wow.
And he can tell you just how hard Furman goes when it comes to showing people the VIP treatment. They do. We've experienced it. We can talk about it. Oh, it's great what they do, what they provide, what they lay out, the spread, the booze, all that stuff. But until one of you gets to experience it and then comes back and says, wow, they really did lay out the red carpet for you, or the purple carpet, then people don't believe it.
There you go.
Mad Kraft will tell you.
What is the difference between purple and regalia anyway? You know,
I don't know. When I was in college, we called it Furple.
Really?
Yeah, Furman Purple.
I don't think they approve of that, Diesel. No. Is regalia kind of like a bougie purple? Is regalia purple for the rich people?
So you remember last week we had that audio of the woman saying that men think about the Roman Empire like every single day?
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing all these Roman Empire things pop up everywhere. Like my YouTube algorithm showed me this thing, 10 facts you didn't know about Rome. I didn't know. Like I always knew that the color purple was a sign of royalty because it was a difficult dye to make. You know where it comes from? It comes from sea snails. It comes from the innards of sea snails.
Oh.
That's the dye that they use.
No.
And they said it would take thousands of sea snails to dye one garment purple.
How often do you think about building a media empire? How about that?
We're not in the radio business. We're in the empire
That's
business.
right, baby. That's right.
Heisenberg.
Okay, guys. 71307 on the carpro.com text line is where you can get to us. Jam-packed with content. Truly do appreciate you making us part of your day each and every day. So let us begin with this. All right. I have heard so much nonsense this week about the time of the Clemson-Florida State game. And I'm over it. Folks, I'm over it. Excuses are for losers, okay? You play when you play. And if you are the better team than Florida State, it shouldn't matter if you play at 12 p.m. or if you play at 12 a.m. You know, from listening to Clemson fans this week, it's like they would rather play at midnight than they would play at 12 p. You know, Pat Hill is the former head coach of of Fresno State, and he had a famous mantra. It was anyone, anywhere, anytime. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. You've got them in your backyard. You've got them in Death Valley, in Memorial Stadium, with 80+ thousand of your closest friends around you, and yours truly, Mark Ryan, will be there as well. Okay? There's no excuse. I'm tired of hearing this. We wish it was a night game BS. Be grateful for what you have. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? All right, you guys know I always like to give you a nugget to take with you on the show today. Oh, if it was a night game, it would be different. I spoke to two different Las Vegas people in the know today about this. Do you know what home field advantage at night is worth? On the betting line, do you know what home field advantage at night is worth? 0.3 points. Zero, not 3 points, 0.3 points. In other words, if you're a 3-point favorite at home at noon, you're a 3.3 point favorite at night. And if 0.3 points is the difference in this game, folks, you don't deserve to win. I am tired of the excuses. You know, it just goes to show you when you hear that excuse that Death Valley has lost something, right? Because, listen, when you need the conditions in life to be perfect, conditions in life are never perfect, ever. The conditions aren't perfect for this show today. They will not be perfect for my CBS show next Saturday, okay? Every once in a while, you have a bomb drop right in your lap, like breaking news right when the show's beginning. That's always fun. That's always nice. But by and large, conditions are never perfect. You know, Angela Jackson and I are going to have movie night after the show tonight. We're going to watch the movie Hulk, okay? Because I liked it when I was a kid, had the Hulk toys. Jackson wants to watch it right now.
Wait. Which one? Which Hulk?
No, not the stupid wrestler, Diesel. I've grown out of that. The Green Hulk.
Yeah, I know. Which one?
Oh.
There's the first one starring Eric Bana. Awful movie. Don't bother with that one. Second one with Fight Club, blanking on his name. He was good. And then from that point forward, it was Mark Ruffalo.
I want to say the girl that is with Machine Gun Kelly is in this one.
I don't think Megan Fox was ever in a Hulk movie.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know which one it is, Diesel.
Liv Tyler was in a Hulk movie, and that's the one that was really bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. If it's the one starring Eric Bana, it's really bad.
Okay. Eric Bana. Who is that?
Edward Norton is the one I was thinking of. The Edward Norton Hulk movie is okay.
It's Eric Bana.
Oh God, that's not a good movie.
Not a good movie.
Not a good movie at
Diesel
all.
Says run. Well, see, you illustrated my point, Diesel. Like I was just saying, the conditions are not going to be perfect. We have a movie night set tonight. Conditions not perfect. According to Diesel, we have the wrong movie. We have the wrong Hulk that is picked. The TV show when I was a kid was fantastic. But the moral of the story is, folks, the conditions are never going to be perfect. You've got to take what you've been given. And I hereby issue a challenge to you Clemson fans to show up and show out and to make Death Valley great again. DVGA is the hat abbreviation, okay? MDVGA, make Death Valley great again. That is your assignment, should you choose to accept it, because I attended the last big game at noon at Memorial Stadium. I don't know if you remember this or not. It was November 26th, 2022. You may remember the results of that game. You lost 31-30 to your hated rival, the South Carolina Gamecocks. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you lost, okay? You lost because the atmosphere feeding down to the players from the fans was not at all intense. It was not at all urgent, okay? There was no intensity there. There was no healthy fear of losing the game there. Frankly, the atmosphere at noon last November against South Carolina sucked. It sucked. It was arrogant. It was beachy. There was a picnic vibe. It was as if there was no chance whatsoever that Clemson would lose. Fans behaved like they were attending a party. That party became a funeral. You can't do that again. Folks, I've been there. I'm not just pointing the finger at Clemson. You know, going to Florida games when Steve Spurrier was there used to be a party. And that level of arrogance and that level of expectation ultimately led to Spurrier bolting for the NFL. He built something that he could not sustain, and that could not be sustained long term, and he grew tired of the expectation that Florida was just going to roll people because they were playing at home. The fans stopped doing their part. I saw the exact same problem at Memorial Stadium last November. The exact same problem.
Do you remember that scene in 300 where the guy Leonidas asks Spartans, what is your profession? And then behind him, like 300 of them, all in unison, all in perfect timing. Oh, oh, oh. That's what Clemson fans need to be this weekend.
You got to be ready to go. If you need to be lathered up, then be lathered up. I don't care what your lubricant is, okay? I don't care if it's KY jelly or Michelob Light. I don't care, okay?
Dude, I care if it's Michelob Light. Don't lather up with Michelob Light.
I don't care.
Come on.
But the bottom line is you got to be ready, and you got to bring the noise, and you got to make Death Valley hostile, okay? If it feels friendly, you're going home with the L. If it feels beachy and we got this, you're going home with the L. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad tidings. You don't got this, okay? You're an underdog in this. Las Vegas thinks you're going to lose this. Every expert I've read thinks you're going to lose this, okay? You don't got this. You need to earn this. And part of earning this is what you are going to see, what you are going to create on Saturday at noon. All right? That is your job. That is your task, should you choose to accept it. And Diesel, it crossed my mind today when I was posting this on Twitter that, man, Clemson fans may not react to this well. That's never stopped me from doing anything, from posting anything. Because when I feel like you need to hear the truth, you're going to get the truth from me. I've posted that. By and large, for the most part, the Clemson fans are all over it. They are eating it up. They are lapping it up because they realize it is true. Every once in a while, you need a little kick in the playmakers. Okay? And I'm Mark Ryan, and I'm here to give that to you today. It's up to you to make that place great again. And for goodness sakes, for all that is good and holy, the time of the day has nothing to do with it. Tell your friends who are saying, I wish it was a night game. Tell your friends that according to two different bookies from Las Vegas, two different guys intimately involved, all right, the difference in a night game point spread factored in is 0.3 points. 0.3. Get off your asses. Get your voices ready. Warm up your voices. And folks, let me tell you this. If you can speak to your wife Sunday morning, you haven't made enough noise. Yeah, if your voice still works Sunday morning, you haven't made enough noise. All right?
By the way, I can confirm that it is possible to be hammered for a noon kickoff. I know if anybody needs any help, any advice, any pointers, send me an email. Diesel@thefanupstate.com. I can send you some literature.
Texter says, are Clemson fans becoming a wine and cheese crowd like UNC fans are? See? Again, guys, like you don't want that. You don't want that attached to you. You know, Death Valley used to be an intimidating place to play. It's not anymore. And, you know, some of you say, well, we win at home. We don't have to be violent people for it to be an intimidating place to play. But it's got to feel like when you step out onto the field, an intensity that you're not ready for, an intensity that you want to leave if you're the opposition. Man, I don't feel like being in a place this intense for 4 hours. You know what I mean? right? Like you don't want to do that. You don't want to feel like you're walking into surgery when you go play football. It shouldn't feel that intense for 4 hours. That's your job. That's your job because you failed at this in November of last year against the Gamecocks. And yes, Clemson fans, you're part of the reason the team lost that game. Everyone's just having a party. You know, they're showing off the new toy, the $1 million, $10 million scoreboard, and they're playing Beach Boys in a 6-point game in the third quarter. Everybody going surfing home with my L. I mean, that's what they were doing. It's like, get off of that. You know, the team staff was responsible for it. The team itself was responsible for it. You guys are responsible for it. Okay? Grow a pair. Okay? Bring your lunch pail. Open a can of whoop ass with your voice. And if you still have a voice Sunday, you were not responsible for the W. Should Clemson earn it? You should not have a voice Sunday morning. You should have lost it. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right? The challenge has been issued. The only question, Clemson fans, is do you choose to accept it? And I will be there. I will deliver a verdict and a rendering on whether you brought it enough or not. At Mark Ryan on Air is where you can see it. That's at MARC Ryan on Air, at Diesel on Radio for Diesel, at the Fan Upstate for us. That's where you can see it. All right, 844-FAN phone. That's 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663 is the number to get to us on the show this afternoon. We will take a healthy and juicy look around week 4 of the college football slate when we come back right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate.
Number 1 for real afternoon sports talk. Offsides with Mark Ryan.
Only on the Fan Upstate.
It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. What is the most likely outcome from the weekend, folks? All right. What is the most likely outcome from the weekend? Diesel, can you put this on the poll on the Fan Upstate? Both Clemson and South Carolina win. Both Clemson and South Carolina lose, or Clemson wins, South Carolina loses, or South Carolina wins, Clemson loses. What's the most likely outcome of the weekend? We get 4 choices. We give you the 4. Both win, both lose. Clemson wins, South Carolina loses. South Carolina wins, Clemson loses. What is the most likely result from the weekend? Because, folks, if both teams lose this weekend, all right, and Clemson has a 60% chance to lose, South Carolina has a 60% chance to win. Translation, it's very possible. It's definitely a possibility that both teams lose. Should that happen, I am no longer going to list my occupation as sports radio show host. I'm going to list it as crisis hotline counselor. Okay. I mean, if that happens, that's going to be the case. That's going to be the case. Realize, Diesel, do you accept that, like, if either team loses this game, it's season over? Like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Clemson loses, it's season over. Now, I'm not saying don't watch your team, but any goal they had at the beginning of the year, and Clemson fans are going to correct me. They're going to say, first goal is to win the state, right? All that stuff. Come on. That's not the goal that the population set for it. The goal was to make the college football playoff. At minimum, win the ACC again. And that's out the window. Why? Because Duke and Florida State would have to lose 3 games then in conference play for you to jump them. 3. That's all she wrote. North Carolina would have to lose 2 games in conference play.
Well, we're going to learn an awful lot about the Clemson fan base if they lose to Florida State. If they lose to Florida State and now the playoff is out of reach, if winning the conference is out of reach, do you stay home and Death Valley sits 40% empty on game days? That will be really, really interesting. We'll see how strong the culture is if you lose.
Now, Diesel, as we sit here today, for all of the doomsday scenarios and all the doomsday fans, Clemson controls its destiny for everything.
Sure.
As we sit here today, they control their own destiny for the SEC, for the state crown, for making the college football playoff, for making and winning the national championship. Clemson controls its own destiny. Should Clemson lose, they control nothing and will achieve nothing that is of value to Clemson fans if they lose this game. Duke removed that possibility.
I mean, at that point, you're just playing for a good bowl game.
That's it. And what is a good bowl game? I don't think New Year's Six is a possibility at that point anymore. Then you look at South Carolina. A loss for the Gamecocks means 1-3. 1-3 in a year 3 for Beamer. That separates the studs in coaching from the duds in coaching. Okay? And a 1-3 record with the following 4 games on the horizon. At Tennessee, much improved Florida, at Missouri, who always has the Gamecocks number, and at Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher coaching for his life. If the Gamecocks are 1-3, what is their record in those 4 games? Best case scenario, 1-3. Should they lose to Mississippi State? What's their record in those next 4 games? I say 1-3 at best, right? So then you're at 2-6 on the outside looking in.
Really bold statement here from JD Wyatt in the YouTube comment section. Hit us up at the Fan Upstate on YouTube. JD says, I think Dabo is about to cut Garrett Riley and Cade loose. Hopefully Clemson defense stifles. Oh, you mean cut them loose as in give them the green light? As if they didn't already? As if they didn't already have the green light? I misread that, JD. I thought you were saying he was going to cut them loose as in hand them their walking papers and move on to a different OC and to Christopher Vizina. You had me worried there for a second that maybe you were already getting into the sauce.
Let us check on the carpro.com text line. Let's see here, guys. We've got some people texting in upset picks outside of the time, okay? And we can't allow that. Can't allow that. So you got to, people are tweeting in upset picks, not allowed. People are texting in upset picks outside of the showtime, not allowed. They're allowed. You can call in or you can text in with your upset picks 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on this show. That is the window. We give you a full 12 hours, okay, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But you got to be in that window. Let's see here. Delano, the truck driver, he's doing very, very well in the standings. I want to say top 3, top 4. He says give him Ole Miss over Alabama plus 6.5. I like Alabama in that game at home. More talent than Ole Miss. I understand the problems, but they're rallying around the quarterback right now. John Rhodes looked at this game, says give me Baylor in the sleepy contest plus 15 against Texas. Texter says, Mark, Clemson fans sound as bad as us Gamecock fans, complaining about having to watch a game in 40-degree rainy weather. Yeah, it was 62 degrees in rainy weather, Spur Daddy. But yeah, I'm tired of hearing it should be a night game. Okay, you get what you get in life. Okay, you get what you earn in life. So you guess what happens? You know what upsets me? Like I was going to get to hang out with Josh Pate again, but Clemson crapped the bet against Duke, and now he's going to Ohio State, Notre Dame. Like Josh Pate was going to be at Clemson, Florida State.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
You ruined the opportunity.
Name that movie. Where did that come from?
Oh,
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
I heard it, Diesel. I don't know where it's from.
It's from The Hangover.
Oh, okay. Okay. I knew I heard that somewhere. Clemson fan. Okay, let's see. The only good thing about the Hulk with Eric Bana was Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Every time she is on the screen, I sing Lionel Richie's Hello. So says Trey.
Still got it, too. She was Penny Davenport in the new Top Gun movie, which, if you recall, that was what got Maverick busted down in the first movie. Remember they said he was hanging out on, what did he say? He was hanging out on the 19th green with the Admiral Davenport's daughter. That's her. It's a little callback to the first movie.
Let's see here. Are Clemson fans becoming a wine and cheese crowd like UNC fans are? So says Spur Daddy. Let's see here. Texter says the Tiger fans need to borrow a little sandstorm energy from us Carolina fans for a day. That's what the Gamecock fans are saying. No Clemson fan would say that ever. I always heard players would rather play early. 1, get up and get it on. 2, they get to have their evening free. To your point, Texter, I got a text Tuesday from CBS. Okay, I got a text Tuesday from CBS. And they said, Mark, 9:30. I've got noon to 5 or 5 to 10. Which would you like? Your choice. I chose noon to 5. I chose noon to 5. I want to be on when the early games are on. I think by the evening time, the audience is watching all the games. I want to get people lathered up and going and kickstarted. Plus, if I'm off the air at 5, I get to see the second half of the second slate of games and all the evening games, right? If I'm hosting 5 to 10, I essentially miss it all. I'm getting ready in the noon hour, I'm getting ready in the 3:30, and I'm hosting up until the fourth quarter the late night games, right? Choose early. Tyler B says, give me Ole Miss over Alabama -6.5. Texter says, with a loss, will Dabo lose the locker room? Will Beamer fold and shoot for 7 and 5? If South Carolina loses this game to Mississippi State, 7 and 5 would be an absolute blessing for them at that point. An absolute blessing. Matt J chiming in with his upset pick. Cincinnati over, it would be, Matt, Choklahoma. And 14.5 points would be Choklahoma. What do you guys think is the most likely result of the weekend? Okay, is it?
I've heard in Choklahoma, Mark, the L's go sweeping down the plane.
Is it Clemson wins, South Carolina loses? South Carolina wins, Clemson loses. Both teams win, or both teams lose. All right? Now, I'm rooting for both teams win. Okay? I'm absolutely rooting for both teams win. The worst outcome for us is both teams lose. Okay? Because, we want you guys to be excited. And, we want to do a show in an exciting environment. And it's what we want for the next 3 months. How depressing would it be? We get all excited for college football all year long, and not even at the end of September. It's over for everybody. It's over. Turn out the lights. The party's over. Texter says, I really don't see South Carolina losing Saturday. Mississippi State is not great. South Carolina is getting better even through the injuries. Clemson versus FSU is going to be a toss-up. Good luck calling that one. Mater says, give me Cincinnati plus 14.5 over Oklahoma as well. What do you say we take a quick look around the top 25 slate this weekend in college football? You've got Charlotte at Florida. I'm struggling with this one a little bit, Diesel, as a Gator. It's like, winning should always be good enough. And I asked myself, is just beating Charlotte good enough? When you answer that question negatively, when you say no, that's when you risk losing the game.
If you lose to Charlotte, you lose to one of the worst programs in FBS.
Yep.
Easily a bottom 5 FBS program.
Yeah, FPI says 5% chance it happens. 1 out of 20. So you play that game 20 times, 1 time Florida will lose. That sounds about right to me. Rutgers at Michigan. Rutgers is 3-0. Now, they've played Wade Hampton High School, but they are 3-0. Florida State at Clemson, the line is shifting back and forth between 1.5 points, 2.5 points. Now I'm looking at it. It's right there at 2. Colorado at Oregon. We're being robbed of a great game because of that dirty hit by Colorado State. We're being robbed. Okay. Colorado
It wasn't a dirty hit.
I thought it was. I
didn't think it was.
I thought it was. I thought it was late, unnecessary. If they had Travis Hunter, I mean, good God, Diesel, it lacerated his liver. Okay?
Hey, the violence of the hit does not make it a dirty hit.
The only time
that's the result. That is not what happened in the play. Both of Travis Hunter's feet were inbounds, and he was a receiver trying to catch the ball. It's not a dirty hit.
Disagree. What did you guys think? That hit on Travis Hunter, dirty or clean? What did you think? Colorado would have a chance in that game with Travis Hunter. No chance without him. UCLA at Utah. Josh Pate said this is a game that UCLA is going to win. I don't know that I feel that way. I really don't. More talent, yes. Better team, more well-coached team, no. Ole Miss at Alabama. Alabama favored by less than a touchdown. Again, more talent, playing at home. Now the team has the quarterback it wants. I think the Ole Miss hype is just that. I think it's hype. Duke at UConn. After Clemson, has Duke played anybody? Lafayette, Northwestern, UConn. I'm glad I got the answer. The answer is no. But how about this? What do you think of the potential for College Game Day next week, Diesel, to go to Wallace Wade Stadium for Duke hosting Notre Dame?
Be awesome.
Duke hosting Notre Dame College Game Day.
Just think of the collective GPAs there.
At Wallace Wade Stadium. Could be coming your way next weekend. Duke is 18th right now. Could they be top 15 next week? Miami at Temple, big whoop.
Being a fan of a school that has hosted game day, Mark, I can say that it is quite a lot of fun.
Wasn't UTSA supposed to be good this year? They're at Tennessee. They've lost 2 of 3. They lost to Houston. They lost to Army. I thought they were supposed to be one of the Group of Five's best teams this year. Arkansas at LSU, a trendy offsides upset pick. I don't know why. Oregon State at Washington State. This is the all who gets more out of less bowl. You know, their ranking laughs in the face at their talent level. 2 top 25 teams, not close to top 25 talent. UAB at Georgia. Poor Trent Dilfer. He's now the coach of UAB. Texas at Baylor. Possible upset alert. Sleepy game on the road. Night game. Ohio State at Notre Dame is the headliner. Iowa, Penn State can be heard right here on the Fan Upstate. North Carolina at Pittsburgh. Don't forecast any problems for North Carolina there. Nor do I see any issues for USC at Arizona State and Washington hosting Cal at home. Cal lost to Auburn. I don't know how good Auburn is this year, but I don't think they're great. Ohio State at Notre Dame. Diesel, quite honestly, leaning Fighting Irish in this one.
Yeah.
Now, I do not necessarily believe that the winner of this game is a national championship contender. They want us to believe that. 2 of the 5 biggest programs in college football. But Ohio State has major quarterback questions. Notre Dame does not. But does Notre Dame have they put together the requisite talent to beat the Michigans, Georgias of the world? That's what we don't know about that game.
Yeah, I think this one, ultimately is going to end up being a toss-up game. Hopefully we have a high-scoring affair, something in the, upper 20s, mid-30s. That would be fantastic. And I think Sam Hartman has Notre Dame in a really good place.
I would agree. I would agree wholeheartedly. Let's see here. Texter says, I got Richie Barnes sending me the following. Clemson confident of setting crowd noise record versus Seminoles. This was back in October of 2013. That crowd got very quiet very fast. What was the final score of that game? Florida State 51-13, something like that. Confident of setting crowd noise record. Didn't matter. Didn't matter when all was said and done. Clemson fans, do you accept the challenge? Make Death Valley great again. MDVGA.
Steve Young on the YouTube thread says, dirty hit. Spur Daddy, not dirty. Mad Craft, he got popped. That's football, baby. I guess he's going with not dirty. So I win 2-1 in your face.
Whatever.
Spur Daddy says if Hunter plays, they lose 52-31. With him not playing, Oregon wins 52-24. So Spur Daddy thinks Travis Hunter is worth exactly 7 points.
I think that was 8, Diesel. But hey, math for everyone, right?
24-31 is 7.
Oh, I thought you said 32.
Math. Ooh, look at that University of Florida degree.
Yeah. Not doing too
man.
well. Not doing too well.
Man, you spent a little too much time blowing on that trombone and not enough time studying your maths.
You feel lightheaded after doing so. That'll get you. It'll get you. It'll get you big time. Okay. All right, my friends. Coming up next on the show, we go all NFL stat freak on you.
Steve Young says, LOL, math matters.
Math matters. He's an unbelievable left-handed quarterback. This guy in our YouTube chat might be the best left-handed quarterback who ever played. You know, really outstanding. Great to have you with us. Coming up next, we go all NFL stat freak on you when Offsides continues. Right after this, we are, my friends, the Fan Upstate. Is this? Can I share this on the?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can share this.
So Diesel's got a frustration because he's got yard pickup that no one will pick up from his home, and so Diesel will tell you the particulars of that. But I've got an equal frustration, Diesel, and I hope this is not me outing myself. Okay, we have trash pickup exactly 1 day a week. Okay, they recently changed it from Tuesday to Wednesday. So on Wednesday the trash pickup comes. And if you miss that, Diesel, may God have mercy on your soul. Now, here's the problem.
That's how trash pickup works.
Yeah, but here's the problem, Diesel. They could come at 5 a.m. or they could come at 3 p.m. And you never know the difference. So you go to bed Tuesday night. Oh, don't worry. I'll just put it out first thing Wednesday morning. They already came.
Yeah.
And then when you miss that, now your choice is you got bags outside of your trash can that like animals are getting into. Okay. Or you are like somewhat illegally finding a dumpster to put your trash in, which is the option that I choose. Okay. So I am the dude. I have found a dumpster that belongs to a company that is by our home. And every time we don't want this coffee table, guess where it's going? We missed the trash day. Guess where it's going? When you make it hard to get rid of your trash, this is what happens. You've had your own story.
Well, when we first moved into our house, our trash was picked up by one of the old school trash trucks, where the guys would throw stuff into the back. So you could throw away anything. They would pick up literally anything. But now we've got one of those arm trucks that will only pick up things that are placed inside of your bin, which is a pain in the ass. But no, I live in an area that is incorporated into Greenville. We have a Greenville address, so I call Greenville City, and I say, "Hey, I need to have my yard trash picked up, by one of those trucks." I'm like, "Oh no, sorry, that's not us. It's Greenville County." So I call Greenville County, and they say, "Oh, that's not us. You got to call the city of Malden." I call the city of Malden. They're like, "Oh, we sent a truck by like 2 weeks ago." No, the hell you didn't. I've had a pile of yard trash. I'm talking grass clippings, bush trimmings, things like that, sitting on my curb now for well over a month. You haven't been by. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, city of Malden. It's just another reason why Malden pisses me off. Every damn time. Malden, get your bleep together, okay? Build the stadium. Pick up people's yard trash when you say you're gonna. If you're going to build a nice restaurant, it better be something better than a crappy Popeyes where they're always out of chicken tenders. What is that? Been by a Popeyes chicken, a brand new location. Oh, we're out of chicken. What? That is what you do. How are you out of it?
They're out of chicken more often than McDonald's is out of ice cream. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible. It's incredible. All right. It's your chance to win. What do we got, these?
Oh, we got something big for you here. We got Furman and Mercer tickets Saturday at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. kickoff. Now, see, Clemson and South Carolina fans, you could complain about an 11 a.m. kickoff. That's a little bit early, but hey, we are going to roll out the red carpet to make it worth your while to go to see Furman and Mercer Saturday at 11 o'clock right there at Paladin Stadium. All you have to do is be caller number 5. Caller number 5 at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. If you call in and win, you will automatically score 2 tickets to the game, and you'll be entered for a chance to win the VIP experience. Ask Madcraft. I mean, they really show out on that. The VIP experience is a parking pass, a pregame on-field access, video board recognition, and 4 club passes to the game. Start calling now, 844-326-3663 when Furman and Mercer tickets for Saturday at 11 a.m.
And that is not where the excitement ends, my friends. No, you call in right now for Furman tickets. All right. That's where you call in. You call in right now, get your Furman tickets. And at 5:40 p.m., a little less than 2 hours from right now, you get to call in, okay, to win a $100 gift card to Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing. How about that? $100, Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing, good to go for you, 5:40 p.m. this afternoon, okay? And so make sure you guys are ready to roll. Make sure you guys are ready to roll, 5:40 p.m. today. You're going to love it. I'm listening to Diesel right now tell a bunch of callers either they didn't win or they won. Folks, Offsides is where you want to be to win the goods, I mean, how awesome is it that Smith & James is giving away $100, $100 gift card every single week on the air? $100 gift card. I mean, it's so money, and you can't even know it. You know you're going there, and you're coming away with something good. All right. And how about those Furman tickets, man? You're getting to see one of the top 10 FCS programs in America, and a program that gave the Gamecocks all they could handle for a half of football the weekend before last. Absolutely jam-packed with giveaway items for you today, my friends. Absolutely jam-packed and set. All right, let's check and see what you guys are saying on the carpro.com text line. Texter says, you're the reason no trespassing signs and locked dumpsters are a thing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. let me know when you're going to come get my trash. Don't come at 5 a.m. one day and 3 p.m. the next. All right. Let's see. Mark, there's recycling centers all around SMH, but Josh Allen, NFL Offensive Player of the Week. It's not recycling, Texter. It's trash. Texter says, Jonathan R. says, taking BYU plus 9.5 over Kansas. Jonathan R., that's what I've done. That's what I've gone with. That's what I'm rolling with today. John R. says, I'm going. We got Jonathan R. and we got John R. Do you see how that is confusing to us, guys? Isaac says, my upset pick this week is Auburn plus 8.5. I thought about that one, Isaac. I thought about that one against Texas A&M. Colorado wins by 3 to 7 points. Clemson by 7. Mississippi State by 10. Ole Miss by 10. Notre Dame by 14. Love to hear your thoughts. I think Texter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you go 2 and 3 in those predictions. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the 2 wins. I'm not going to tell you the 3 losses, but that is where we are at. All right. Coming up next on the show today, my friends, this is juicy. We do a little contender, pretender, college football style, impressive, unimpressive. We tackle that next, right here. Yeah.
Before I let you go, Mark, turns out we have 2 pairs of tickets to give away to the Furman game. So we're going to start this thing up all over again. Congratulations to Rick and Greer, scored the first pair of tickets. So now I'm going to take the third caller at 844-326-3663. 844-FAN phone. Third caller going to win our second pair of tickets to Furman versus Mercer and be entered in for the VIP experience.
All of that is next. Contenders and pretenders, what we've seen in the first few weeks of college football on the flip side. Here on the show that gives you both sides. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. And we, my friends, are the Fan Upstate. Pro.com text line. Brandon chimes in. He's going Ole Miss over Alabama in the 6.5 points. I think this is our contest leader, Brandon, right now. Ole Miss over Alabama, 6.5 points. A couple people are coming at me about this. Let Mark know. I'm reading the text, sir. Like I can see you're talking to me. Okay. Let Mark know that the recycling places are a lot like Gamecock fans. 90% are good. The other 10% is garbage, open dumpsters. The 90% that are good is recycling. The other 10% is garbage, open dumpsters. You talked about trash, and you made me laugh. So you have a future in comedy. There are trash dumps all over the upstate, the largest just being west of Anderson. Texter, don't worry. I got a dumpster right out back. Don't worry. Don't worry. No worries, man. No worries. Missed the trash pickup? There's a dumpster down the road. I'll figure it out. Tiger fan Clint says, don't see anything I love this week. So my upset pick is going for gold. Give me Rutgers Plus 24 over Michigan. Time for a khaki. That's short for Jim Harbaugh. Time for a khaki noon flop. How about a khaki noon flop? How about an audio clip from Jim Harbaugh? Okay. Now, I can't imagine what this said, but I was intrigued by it because sometimes the jerk is strong in that one, Diesel.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard this clip. But the jerk tends to be strong in this one. What did Jim Harbaugh learn during his suspension for buying a recruit a cheeseburger?
I'm a new guy. I'm cool now. I mean, the media and I are going to have a whole new, better relationship. I see things different.
Oh, man. The wise ass is strong in that one.
Sitting out for a 30-point blowout over East Carolina. I learned a lot. You guys, I learned a lot.
That's actually pretty funny. Like Harbaugh showed more personality there than he ever does. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. I value that. I appreciate that very, 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 very much. All right, guys. We're getting as many upset picks today as we did yesterday. How about that? Texter says, I sent in my pick yesterday, Auburn plus 7.5, but I see the line move to 8.5. If you would note that for me on my picks yesterday. I'm not sure what Dan B does, but he told me yesterday, Texter, that he's locked them in. So when you make the pick, I believe it's locked in at that number. All right. Auburn plus 7.5 over A&M. So says Wolverine Joe. On the text line is where you can get to us on the show this afternoon.
I have a question. If both Clemson and South Carolina lose and their seasons are effectively over, Mark, do we then move the majority of our coverage to the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers?
Ooh, that is very, very, very interesting.
I mean, wouldn't we want to follow the best team in the state?
Let's see here.
Just saying.
Let's give you an update on the poll. What is the most likely outcome this weekend? Both Clemson and South Carolina win. Only 14% say that. That means you guys believe thus far that there's an 86% chance that one of the two big programs in the state, their season will be over. 18.2% say both lose. 9.1% says Clemson wins and South Carolina loses. And 59% say Clemson loses and South Carolina wins. Clemson loses and South Carolina wins. The question is, what say you guys about that? 71307 on the carpro.com text line is where you can get to us on the show. How about all the great sponsors that we have now coming on to the show? We appreciate them so much. They're attracted to great programming, and they're attracted to what all of us have built together through you, right? Through you. So thank you guys so much. Every time I hear a new sponsor on the air, you know what I say? I say thank you. Thank you guys. Thank the sponsor. Thank you guys for making this show and this station a place where businesses want to be. Yes, Diesel.
Mark, this is a very important note. Through no fault of my own, Furman Mercer does not kick off at 11 a.m.
Okay.
It kicks off at 1 p.m., but the information in our contesting page says 11 a.m., so I am Ron Burgundy. I will read anything on the page. And, this is the age of trying to get on TV, so you do weird things with your kickoff times, right? I had to assume that this was correct, but I was wrong, and I look like a jackass. So it is 1 p.m., especially Harper and Rick in Greer who are listening. It is a 1 p.m. kick, not 11 a.m.
Diesel, I have a similar concern, and I'm going to tell you what it is, okay? I don't know what to do, Diesel, when we do our Smith and James contest giveaway in an hour and a half today, if people don't get the trivia questions right. Like, how many questions?
You give it to me. That's what you do.
How many questions am I supposed to have here, Diesel? It's like every time I'm hoping the first guy gets it right. I'm rooting for you always, never against you. But if we get through my 4 or 5 questions and nobody's still gotten them right, where do we go from there? Like, what do we do? These are the things, how they tell you you're never ready to be a parent. You're never ready to run contests. I don't know. I spent some good time thinking about the questions that I wanted to ask, but I need you guys to know what you're talking about. to be able to answer one of the first 3 or 4. Because if we have to keep going after that, it could end up, what color is Clemson? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
2023, Mark. You're not allowed to ask that on government forms anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's true. All right, guys. So what do you guys think of, in terms of who are the truest contenders right now in college football? Okay, based on what you've seen, who can actually win the national championship? Okay, who can actually win it? I'm not talking about, if a sun shines on a dog's posterior, who can win it? I'm talking about the teams with an actual shot. All right. There's only 2 teams right now that have single-digit odds to win the national championship. Only 2. 1 is Georgia. 2 is Michigan. Nobody else has even single-digit odds to win. There are 3 teams that are exactly 10-1. Okay, those teams are Ohio State, Florida State, and Texas. And after that, you've got USC, Notre Dame, Penn State, Washington, and Oregon. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So as much as we bemoan the lack of parity, as much as we say, well, this is an interesting year, right? We don't know who the number 1 team is, man. Anybody can win it. There's only 10 teams that are even at a 25-1 shot to win it all. Who got, like, honestly, in your heart of hearts, okay? If we're talking about your life savings on the line, how many teams can actually win it this year? Michigan's up there, okay? And Georgia is up there. But who else could actually win the thing? I don't think Ohio State can win it this year. I don't think Florida State can win it this year. That's not because I'm a Gator hater, okay? That's because Florida State doesn't meet the blue chip ratio. And no one has ever won it that has not met the blue chip ratio, okay? Texas meets the blue chip ratio. So I was thinking about this, Diesel. Who could actually win the national championship this year? And Diesel, if you say Appalachian State, I'm turning your microphone off. But I've got, Diesel, the following teams: Michigan, Georgia, Texas, and Washington. Washington is my surprise. They're my sleeper. Look at their scores. Nobody's close to them, okay? Nobody is close to them. Kalen DeBoer, great coach. Year 2, San Diego State. That's where he came from. Michael Penix Jr. rising up the draft boards right now. I got 4 teams that could actually win it. Strikingly enough, Diesel, these are the 4 teams that I believe will make the college football playoff. I have the following teams listed as pretenders, okay? Not national championship ready in 2023. I've got Clemson, Florida State, Penn State, USC, Ohio State, Oregon, and Alabama. All right? So I've got 8 teams there. And I've got 1 team that I'm undecided on. Okay? And that is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's an underdog at home this weekend. I think Notre Dame probably wins this game. I love Sam Hartman. I think Sam Hartman is absolutely capable of being a national championship winning quarterback. What I don't know is if Notre Dame has the requisite talent around him. Okay? Is the talent there? All right? Around Sam Hartman to win the national championship this year. All right? Is it there? That's the answer that I don't know. What do you guys say? 844 fan phone. That's 844-326-3663 is the number to get to us here on the show this afternoon. We were talking about this, and, the graphic says, yes, Texas can do it. Here are the 16 teams who meet the blue chip ratio: Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Clemson. LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, Oregon, Notre Dame, Florida, Miami, Penn State, Michigan, USC, and Auburn. Guess who is not on here as well? One of the teams that I mentioned to you. Washington is not on here. But they did say that one year there would be a team that has a quarterback who catches fire, and that team is going to win the national championship despite not hitting the blue chip ratio. Could that be this year with Washington? Could that be this year with Florida State? You know, the feeling is that those are the only 16 teams that have the requisite talent to win the national championship. Now, who among the blue chip ratio teams have already been eliminated? All right. A&M has one loss, so they're not technically eliminated yet. Same with Clemson. All right. Florida has one loss, so they're not technically eliminated yet. None of the teams that meet the blue chip ratio are technically eliminated yet. All have one loss or less. That will change this weekend. Diesel, teams that have a legit shot at winning the national championship. I'm not looking for the crazy picks. I'm just looking, if your money's on the line, hey, Mark, I get these 4 teams, you get the field, or I get these teams, you get the field, and I'm going to win. The national champion comes from this group of teams. Who's got a realistic shot?
Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3, Texas. And number 4 is where it gets iffy. You're not wrong here. Number 4 gets a little iffy. It's not going to be Southern Cal. It probably will be the winner of Ohio State, Notre Dame. They'll have the inside track. But more likely than that, only because of what they have in front of them and the opportunity to play top 25 teams basically week in and week out, I'm going to say Washington.
There you go. You've heard from Diesel. Who are your surefire contenders that could win the national championship? Who are the ones that could do it? Let's see here. If Carolina and Clemson seasons are over, then you'd move on to Furman so they can F you all the time. Great to hear from you, Spur Daddy. Let's see here. Feed me up the trivia question, and I'm looking fresh. You got to be first in line, Texter. You got to be first in line. If I were you guys, I might be calling it about 5:10 to be first in line for the 540 contest. I might be on hold waiting to make sure I'm first in line, to make sure I've got the best shot. I mean, why not? Is a chance to win a $100 gift card worth a 30-minute wait for you? You tell me. He says he's already got his outfit picked out. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Let's see here. The true contenders this year are Georgia, Michigan, Penn State, FSU, and the winners of this weekend's Notre Dame-Ohio State game. Interesting list, Spur Daddy. Obviously, I disagree. Believer says FSU are pretenders, Georgia are contenders. Texter says, oh, Texter, you didn't give us your name. Remember the rules. We need your name, we need your game, and we need your point spread. He just said, give me San Jose State over Air Force -6. Texter, oh, E-Thoughty. There he goes. Good. It's good to see that, E-Thoughty. Good job. Let's see. Spur Daddy says, the deal with the blue chip ratio now is it doesn't factor in the transfer portal. That's why Florida State is a top 5 contender. Aha, Texter. Aha. None other than Josh Pate told us that even if all of the transfer portal guys had committed to Florida State originally, in other words, Florida State gets credit for their original high school ranking coming out of college, you know what that does to Florida State's blue chip ratio? Takes them from 38% to 42%. They're still not close to the 50% required. Okay? There you go. Texter says, Appalachian State can win the national championship. Can't turn my mic off, Mark Ryan. That's great. All right, guys. That's what we think. Legitimate shot to win the national championship. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who is next on the list? They do list Florida State as an almost. They do list Tennessee as an almost, and they do list Washington as an almost. All right, for the blue chip ratio. Can one of those teams, Florida State or Washington, be the first to knock it off? All right, my friends. In the talent or coaching conundrum, We've got the strongest evidence yet tilting the battle toward one side or the other. That, my friends, is next, and this is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Awesome to have you guys with us here on the show. They made me nervous today, Diesel. I'm doing allergy shots. Any of you guys do allergy shots? And, like you get to this area that's called the red zone, right? And today was my first red zone shot. You're supposed to stay for half an hour after you get your shot. And my attendance at doing that has not been, how shall we say, 100%. Look, guys, if you listen to the show's called Offsides. I'm a rule breaker, not a rule follower. And I got the sense that they knew that I wasn't staying for the 30 minutes because they said to me, Mark, today is your first red zone shot, which means the concentration of the stuff your body don't want is 10 times higher. You really need to stay for the full 30 minutes today. So I stayed for the full 30 minutes today, and the arms are itching a wee bit, but we're doing what we got to do. All right. Freezing Cold Takes has a good one. He's got a tweet from Blockbuster on 2011, Diesel. A tweet from Blockbuster. And Blockbuster says, tweet while you're leaving Netflix. The top 3 most creative tweets using Goodbye Netflix will win a 1-year subscription to Blockbuster. Is that still valid? Is that contest still going on?
Well, there is one Blockbuster left. It's in Washington.
It's in Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah, I watched that. That was a great
It's a good doc. Yeah.
Great watch. Absolutely great watch. Fantastic freezing cold take that is. All right. We've got Panthers Culture coming your way next. We've got some breaking news that Bryce Young, Diesel. Bryce Young is doubtful.
Uh-huh.
He's doubtful for the Seattle game. Now, Diesel, you tell me, because you host the Carolina Panthers kickoff show, what is the selling point to watching that game with no Bryce Young? Like, I'm legit curious. Like, what will you do?
The selling point is, I can't believe I have to say this, competent quarterback. What can a competent, veteran, experienced quarterback do with no pieces around him? I mean, how much of it is Bryce Young's youth and inexperience? How much of it is the offensive line and the lack of wide receivers? I think that's the question that ultimately gets answered on Sunday.
I got one for you, Diesel. 0-2 teams, okay? Ready for this? 0-2 teams have a 22% chance of making the playoffs, okay? Mm-hmm. 0-3 teams have a 2% chance of making the playoffs.
Ouch.
Okay? So,
ouch.
So there's a little motivating factor for you. Guys, if I say to you point blank, what's more responsible for the one-loss equation? Is it coaching or talent? What would you say? All right? You've heard the same phrase I have, right? It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the what? It's about the Jimmies and the Joes. You've heard that. I've heard that. We've all heard that, right? But I've got a statistic to share for you here. And most of the time we say stats are like bikinis. They show some things, but clearly not all. This is a stat that shows quite a bit. This stat leaves very, very little to the imagination. Okay? And I've got a couple of them for you here. A couple of them. And they are juicy. Last year, okay, at the end of the season, Florida's defense was ranked 102 in America. They were giving up 416 yards a game. 102nd ranked defense. Florida State's ranked 101st right now. Out of 131 teams, Florida was awful. It was, most Gator fans will tell you, it was the worst defense they ever witnessed in their time as a Gator fan. So Billy Napier plucks Austin Armstrong off of a Nick Saban staff, right? And now the Gators, through 3 games, mind you, but 2 of those 3 games were against Utah and Tennessee, are number 10 in America. Well, what gives? The best players from that defense last year are the best players on this defense this year, right? What gives? Florida returns its best defensive players. Sometimes returning bad players isn't a good thing, right? But that defense right now has gone from 102nd last year to 10th this year. So what changed? The defensive coordinator changed. Austin Armstrong is in town. He is fiery. He is intense. He reminds me of like a smarter Will Muschamp, which is always good, And we asked Josh Pate about this yesterday, and he said, Mark, coaching. It matters. It's important, And I'm telling you guys, because the talent is largely the same as it was a year ago, to me, when I look at what a good coordinator can do, I'm telling you, advantage coaching over talent. Florida has had good, not great talent, right? This isn't a Florida topic. This is a talent versus coaching topic, okay? But look for a moment at what Oregon State and Washington State are doing without elite talent. Oregon State with less talent beat Florida 30-3 in their bowl game. Washington State had a coach that got fired because he refused to get a vaccine. I don't think that was a good career choice for that man. They're now undefeated. They're now number 21 in America right now. Diesel, do you have an easy answer? Coaching or talent? If you were to put the pendulum somewhere in the middle or lean it one way or another, would it be right in the middle? Would it lean one way or another? You're inclined to say talent, right? But then you see a stat like this and you're like, how did the Gators go from 102nd to 10th? What changed was the defensive coordinator.
Well, ask Bill Belichick if it's coaching or talent. Right? Bill Belichick hadn't won a damn thing since Tom Brady left.
Okay.
More often than not. Now, look, this is not a computer simulation. You can't add up or create an algorithm based on the talents of the players on your team and spit out exactly what their results are going to be and have it be right 100% of the time. You just can't. So sometimes mediocre talent performs better than they should. Sometimes great talent underperforms. It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. It's like asking me, is there life out there? Well, there should be. There's a lot of space out there. But if there is, how come we hadn't seen it yet?
Coming up next, we're going to be joined by Panthers Culture himself, At.JJ Hardy, on the Carolina Panthers. And I'll tell you what, my friends, we sure are excited about having him on the show. Your Carolina Panthers questions, get them in because we will answer them next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ron, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, joined right now by, in my opinion, the best Carolina Panther Twitter account on the internet. His name is At.JJ Hardy. There are no bogus rainbows and gumdrops with him. I was reading his account the other night. He's like, we were promised an offensive game plan, an offensive team. What is this that I'm witnessing? Off with you. Off with this crappy product that we're getting right now. JJ Hardy of Panthers Culture joins us right now on the show. JJ, a lot of hope, a lot of excitement for this team this season. Where do we stand right now?
I'm trying to figure that out, Mark. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about who we are, like what's our offensive identity, who is Frank Wright, who is Bryce Young. And going into week 3, where Bryce Young isn't even available to play, I think we might be in a little bit of trouble here, man. So, but it's still early. But right now, it's really hard to say who we are, where we are, what is our offensive identity. And so, I mean, I guess we'll find out a little bit more on Saturday.
JJ Hardy here of the Panthers Culture podcast. JJ, look, I have an unenviable task, as do you, to talk about the Carolina Panthers and to get people excited about the Carolina Panthers. I host the Carolina Kickoff Show here on Classic Rock 101.1. How do you keep Panthers fans engaged for the remainder of this season, 15 more weeks of football? Now, obviously, next year, things open up. There's a lot of cap space that opens up next year. The Carolina Panthers could be buyers next year, and depending on what happens with Brian Burns' contract situation, which we talked about last week, they could move off of him to get back into the first round in a big way next year, although I don't think a lot of Carolina Panthers fans would be excited to hear that he's gone, even if they got 2 first-round picks. You know, how are you pitching to Carolina Panthers fans that they should still care? Because I think the franchise is also trying to figure that out because it affects their ticket sales.
It's a very precarious situation for Panthers ownership, management, the coach, the staff, you know, to convince fans that they should stay engaged if this season continues to go the way the first 2 games went. I will continue to say that it is early still. And if we get a win on Sunday, said Saturday earlier, but if we get a win on Sunday, then I think, you know, that'll be a little bit of life, you know, into our fan base to say, okay, you know, we're still interesting. Obviously, we have a good defense. You know, our defense, to me, has played well enough to win both games that we played so far. But again, it comes down to that offense. And unfortunately, in years past, you know, we were always looking toward, you know, trying to win, and we didn't win. Turn to a point in the season where you could focus on maybe let's tank and draft the best quarterback in the upcoming draft. This year is precarious because that's no longer the case, right? You know, we're not looking to tank anything because, first of all, we don't have a first-round draft pick next year. That's in Chicago. And we've already drafted who is supposed to be the franchise quarterback of the future in Bryce Young, and it's way too early to make a determination on whether or not he is or is not that. And so I think we still have to just tell fans the truth. I think that's the biggest key, Mark. I think Frank Wright as the head coach, I think ownership, if Dave Tepper decides to talk again, you know, he went quiet for a long time over the last couple of years doing the Matt Rule area, but if he comes out and talks, I think everybody needs to be just very upfront about who we are right now, what we're trying to accomplish this year, and just let fans know so we know what we're looking for. I think if you tell people that we're trying to win, or you know indicate that you're trying to win every game, but we come out and we look as bad as we have for the last 2 weeks, then people are going to lose interest. But I think if you're just real with people and say, hey, look, you know, we're just trying to compete. We're trying to find out who we are on offense, who our playmakers are, who our quarterback is. And I think people can stay engaged because people respect the truth. And right now, I think that's a lot of the consternation in the fan base is a lot of us went in thinking, you know, you have this all-star coaching staff, new head coach, you have a new franchise quarterback, you went and got some key pieces on defense. You know, it must be time to win. But we 0-2. And now our franchise quarterback is hurt. Starting cornerback is hurt in J.C. Horn. We lost our defensive captain in Shaq Thompson for the season. So there's a lot of things going on that's negative right now. So I think everybody up top in Charlotte needs to just be upfront with their fans and just say, hey, look, this is who we are. This is what we're trying to do this year.
Yeah, so you'd like a mission statement. You'd appreciate a mission statement right now, Panthers Culture.
Yeah.
Okay, like a state of the union address. Okay, guys, please, let's grow with us, grow together. We're going to be here for the journey. We understand how the season started. We're trying to build something here. We understand that we may not win the Super Bowl this year, but if you guys will roll with us and enjoy the journey, we really think you'll like the product that you see by the end of the season. Does that suffice?
Yep, something like that. That'll work for me because then I'll know what I'm signed up to do.
There you go. Do you like anything at all, JJ, that you see from Bryce Young early on? And what else do you like that you see on the team so far?
So for Bryce Young, I think the thing that I like about him so far is he has great anticipation on his throws. We haven't had a quarterback here in Carolina who threw with anticipation in a long time. I don't even know if Jake Delhomme was that type of quarterback. Cam Newton wasn't necessarily that type of quarterback, but he had the arm talent to fit things in tight windows when guys got open. But, we haven't had the type of quarterback that throws with anticipation, that can read defenses. I know people, think right now that Bryce can't really read defenses well because he threw those 2 picks in Atlanta. But I still think that's who he is. I think if he knows where to go, and I think if guys are getting open, he can trust guys get open. I think he throws with great anticipation and great accuracy. I think he struggles right now with people not getting open and not trusting where to go with the ball because he can't trust that his guy's going to win on his route. So that's why I think we've seen some of the struggles and, some of him holding the ball and getting in trouble in the pocket. But again, the strength, I think, is about his anticipation. Now, when it comes to the thing I like about the team in general is what I mentioned in the beginning. I think this defense has been playing well enough to win ball games. I think that we could have won both ball games that were just up to the offense to be complementary to the defense. I think we can get after the passer this year. I saw some good things from Frankie Louvu. He kind of struggled in game 1, but he came back and had a really great game in game 2 against the Saints. We had a good game out of Gross Matos. That's somebody who had been kind of a forgotten piece, from the 2020 draft, and folks were thinking he wouldn't even make the team this year. But, I think he got a sack on Monday night. Houston was in the backfield. So I think our defense can play well. We didn't have J.C. Horn, but they played okay. I mean, cornerbacks gave us some big plays down the stretch. The one that C.J. Henderson gave up to Olave for the deep ball. I think he really played a great rep. He just didn't finish it out. And then on the other side, later on you had Dante Jackson, who was beat by Shaheed on the right sideline. And I thought he needed to play better, but overall I didn't really feel like we missed J.C. Horn. So I think Ejiro Evero, I think he has the defense prepared, for the opponents. And again, if we can just get some points on the board, I think we'll even see more from the defense because we haven't really had the luxury of playing with a lead yet. And when we do, I think you're going to see more quarterback pressures, more sacks, and hopefully more turnovers.
Now, why aren't we seeing more points here, though, JJ? Like, Laviska Shenault seems like a great Deebo Samuel, Percy Harvin style of weapon. He gets used as a circus toy, and then he's back on the bench. Why not make a guy like that more featured part of the offense?
I think right now I think Frank Wright is a little stuck. I think he's a good offensive mind. I mean, obviously he has a track record, going back to his time as an offensive coordinator, and then obviously being the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 when they won the Super Bowl. I think Frank Wright knows what he's doing, but I also think Frank Wright, because he just had a bad ending to his coaching career in Indianapolis, I think he's really pressing to prove that he can still do the job in terms of play calling. And I think part of the problem, though, is that, you have all these new pieces to the coaching staff, and you have, all these different pieces that you never worked with before as a offensive play caller. When you talk about, you got a rookie quarterback. You have Adam Thielen, who came in free agency. You brought in DJ Chalk in free agency. You have, guys that like Laviska Shenault that you just mentioned, that you've never really had a guy like that. So you don't necessarily know how to use him properly. You've seen him be used properly on film a couple of times, but you don't know how to really incorporate that into your scheme in earnest. And so I think what we are seeing Frank Wright do right now is like trying to fill out what works, with the guys that he has, considering the new quarterback, considering, Thielen, considering DJ Chalk just getting healthy. You have a rookie in Mingo. I don't think he knows what his wide receivers can and cannot do. I don't think he knows what LaVista can and cannot do, even though it feels apparent to us. I don't know if it's really natural in his offense. So I think he's trying to fill out what works with Bryce Young, what works with this offensive line, who can do what in terms of what routes they can run. And so he's trying to give everybody the opportunities to do what they can do in his offense and see what they cannot do in his offense. And I think probably around weeks 3, 4, 5, we'll be able to see Frank install what he trusts the guys to be able to do. I'm just speculating, obviously, because I don't know, but just watching him, it feels like it's a filling out process for himself as a play caller.
JJ, this may be an absurd question to ask this early in the season, but to your knowledge, how strong is the locker room right now? These guys can't be having a very good time losing.
It's probably tough, because we have been told that Shaq Thompson is the leader of that locker room. He's him and J.J. Johnson are the only guys who really remain from the previous era of Carolina Panthers football, the keep pounding football. And I know losing Shaq to injury, probably was a downer for them. Right now, I think they might be searching for the next leader in the locker room. That could be Brian Burns. It could be Adam Thielen. It could be Bryce Young. But the problem is right now with Bryce, I think his uncertainty about his health and him not being able to play this weekend, I think that takes away some of that natural leadership. I mean, I think they probably still respect him. And obviously we hear great things about him, but him being a rookie, I think this year is all about establishing himself. And I'm not saying that the injury takes away from that, but if you're not the guy with your uniform on Sunday and you haven't done it enough to really prove yourself as that guy, I think they're going to be looking to a guy that has done that. And so the only ones that stand out to me who remain would be Brian Burns. It would be Derek Brown. It would be maybe Frankie Luvu. Maybe he's the new guy. But Von Bell is also a veteran presence. So I think you have to look to those guys to kind of get a feel for what's happening in the locker room. And hopefully one of those veterans, even if they're a young veteran, hopefully they step up and say, okay, we can't let this thing fall apart in week 3. Let's pull it together. So I think there's some uncertainty right now. I think a lot of people are looking around to see who that person is. I just hope that we have one guy that will step up and do that.
JJ Hardy, Panthers Culture, joining us here on the show. JJ, watching the Panthers on Monday Night Football, huge scene, huge vibe, national eyes are on you, only one other game going on. To me, just coming off the college football weekend, and I owe you honesty, JJ, the atmosphere just felt a little muted, a little neutered. My wife asked me the other day why I like college football better than the NFL. And the atmospheres are certainly on the list. But in this case with Carolina, is the issue the fan base? Is Charlotte too transient? Is the issue the team, no back-to-back winning seasons? Or is the issue a corporate wine and cheese crowd that is prevalent in the NFL? I didn't sense the kind of, the NFL has a few of those atmospheres that mimic what we see in college. Lambeau Field can do that. Arrowhead can do that. The Superdome in New Orleans can do that. It just felt very, very muted to me. Why, JJ?
I think the answer is all of the above.
Okay.
To be honest. And the reason I say that is because I've had the pleasure of being able to go around some of the other venues in the NFL. Not a lot of them, but I've been to some other venues. And like you said, the franchises you named, like Lambeau Field for the Packers, Arrowhead for the Chiefs, those teams are steeped in tradition. They're legacy teams. They have multiple Lombardi trophies in their trophy room. And so the fan bases really take a lot of pride in what that stadium represents, what that stadium means to that city, that community. And in Carolina, because Carolina is still one of the newer NFL teams. I mean, 1995, I was in high school when the Carolina Panthers were born and belonged to a different fan base. So I know what the legacy fan bases feel like. They know what winning feels like. And so they carry that pride. They carry that pride into the stadium. They know when to be loud. They know when not to be loud for their own team. they know what their influence is on the outcomes of games. And, and you see those championship caliber teams do that. Their fan bases know how to do that very intuitively. And in Carolina, I think the crowd is great when Carolina's winning. I mean, obviously the most recent time that we actually saw that consistently was 2015, but the Carolina Panthers were 15-1. So it's easy to cheer when everything is going great. It's easy to cheer when, you are venturing on a undefeated season. It's easy to cheer when you are wiping teams out in the playoffs. But it's harder to cheer when there's uncertainty. It's harder to cheer when there's been consecutive losing seasons. It's harder to cheer when you don't trust anything that comes out from the team in terms of the ownership and what they're doing. You don't believe in your coach. And we saw that last year with Matt Rule and the Fire Matt Rule chant. And then your quarterback play, your offense looks very anemic. So it's hard to get excited about what you see when what you see isn't producing any excitement. So I can't fault fans for not being loud. I can't fault fans for not being engaged like you think they should be. But I think, the answer, like you put it, I think, in all the different alternatives, I think it's all of that. I think all of that contributes to what we see the fan base doing now. I went to a game up there last year, and there were more away fans in the stadium in terms of what I saw, in the seats, the colors of the T-shirts and the jerseys in the seats, than there were of Carolina Panthers fans. And I think it's because when we're not winning, nobody cares. And except for the diehard fans. And it is really bad for, the diehard fans because we don't have anybody to look to and rally with to say, let's get loud. Everybody that you're looking at is like, I don't believe that we can win this game. And so it's just tough, man. So we need to win. We really need to win, and we need to start winning quickly so we can see that excitement in Bank of America, I guess.
You got it, folks. Is J.J. Hardy. While the Panthers play this Sunday, J.J. Hardy rocks it out with unbelievable Panthers content all week long. Follow him on Twitter at Panthers Culture. Love having you on, pal. We look forward to next week, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. J.J. Hardy at Panthers Culture is where you can join us, and we've got the top 5 at 5 coming your way next. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Truly do appreciate you making us part of your day each and every day. You guys have a lot of choices out there. The fact that you choose us warms the cockles of our hearts. All right? Here's how you can get in touch with what we've got cooking. You can give us a ring at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. And the carpro.com text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go. We've got Lawton Swan of ClemsonSportsTalk.com joining us next. It is time for us, though, right now to get to that jam. We call it the top 5 at 5, the top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the Upstate, Offsiders, the top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it.
5.
All right, let's take a little quick look around week 4 of the college football slate this weekend. You know the 2 big games we've been talking about, Clemson, Florida State, Mississippi State, and South Carolina, a must-win for both. How ironic is it that both major schools face D-Day, folks, at the exact same time? We've had some folks today picking Rutgers over Michigan. Rutgers, a surprise team here in the early going. ESPN's FPI gives Rutgers actually a 1-in-6 chance. There's actually a very slim chance they'll survive that. You're saying there's a chance. Elsewhere, Cincinnati against Oklahoma, a trendy upset pick. Why? Because Cincinnati's playing at home. Cannot believe how many folks are picking Colorado over Oregon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, without Travis Hunter. Also, top 25 tilts, UCLA, number 22 at number 11, Utah, 15 Ole Miss, At number 13, Alabama. Could College Game Day be headed to Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham next week? Notre Dame will be going there. And if Duke can win at UConn, they'll be undefeated. Arkansas attempts to play spoiler at LSU this weekend, but I get the sense that LSU has once again righted the ship. The battle of the bridesmaids, but very, very good bridesmaids. Oregon State and Washington State over in the Pac-12, still devastated that the entire left coast is not going to have their own conference.
Well, there's rumors now, Mark, that the Pac-2 and the Mountain West are looking at a potential promotion relegation system.
Really?
Yeah, it's out there.
You kidding me?
The rumors are out there.
Who would? Okay, so how would that work?
So they would start with the top. What is the what does the Mountain West have now? 14 schools?
I don't think that many.
So let's just say it's 12.
Okay.
All right. So the top 10 would be in the main conference. The bottom 4 would be in the secondary conference. You'd still play essentially a combined conference schedule. And then if you're good, you get promoted. If you're bad, you get relegated.
I would watch that immediately.
And then brand it as the Pac whatever.
I think they should leave the conference name that you get relegated to, the Pac-12. You know, like leave that as the conference name. Also, a game you can hear right here on the Fan, upstate Iowa, Penn State, and the big in Ohio State at Notre Dame. I'm not convinced, folks, that either Ohio State or Notre Dame is a true national championship contender. Ohio State with quarterback questions. Notre Dame, is there enough talent around Sam Hartman? But I'm leaning toward the Fighting Irish at home in that particular tilt. What say you? Next up.
4.
You know, folks, it's an age-old dilemma. Which matters more for wins and losses? Is it coaching or is it talent? You've heard coaches say it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joes. But every once in a while, you get a piece of evidence that really challenges that. Here's one for you. The Florida Gators last year in college football had the 102nd ranked defense in America, 102nd out of 131 teams. That's not good. Gator fans, will tell you it's the worst Florida Gator defense that they've ever witnessed in their lifetime. They gave up 416 yards a game. This year thus far, new defensive coordinator, Florida's top 10. The best players from last year are again on this year's team. Okay? They go from 102nd to 10th. What changed was you added Austin Armstrong. Defensive coordinator used to be on Nick Saban's staff. And oh my gosh, you blink and suddenly Florida's got the big D. It is incredible. So what do you guys say? What is your argument? Florida also, last year to this year. This year they lead the SEC in fewest missed tackles. They've missed just 19 tackles on the year. In 2020, through 3 games, Florida had missed 56 tackles through 3 games. 56, okay? I mean, think about that for a minute. Is it talent or is it coaching? You tell us which counts more towards the one-loss equation. Next up.
3.
At number 3, Diesel and I have given you our list of true contenders who can actually, realistically, win a national championship this year. I'm undecided on Notre Dame. I'm listing as pretenders Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, USC, Florida State, Penn State, and Clemson. I'm listing as contenders, true contenders, just 4. Georgia, Michigan, Texas, and Washington. All right. The national champion is going to come from one of those 4 schools. And if it happens to be Washington, it'll be the first team ever that busts the blue chip ratio. How about that? Next up.
2.
At number 2 today. Trayvon Diggs. Oh, boy. You know, like the Cowboys can't win for losing, man. Just when it feels like Dallas might enter our contenders list. You just heard our college football contenders list. They can't get out of their own way. Trayvon Diggs tears his ACL at practice today. And Trayvon Diggs, you know, one of the on the medal stand of cornerbacks in the NFL right now, right? Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, Trayvon Diggs, torn ACL, out for the year. You ask Dallas fans, who on defense could you just not lose? He's him. He is him, as the kids say. Trayvon Diggs, what does that do to the rest of the Dallas Cowboys defense? That was looking like the best defensive unit in the entirety of the National Football League. And finally,
1.
I'm tired of this, guys. I'm tired of it. Stop giving me crap about the time of the game that Clemson is playing. Okay? That's a loser excuse. And because I'm tired of hearing about this loser excuse, oh, why aren't we playing at night? We need Death Valley at night. Be grateful in life for what you got. The circumstances are never going to be perfect for you. You know, we all have problems going on in our lives at all times. Okay? What are the problems in your life right now? You've got them. What are the problems in my life right now? I've got them. Okay? The situation is never going to be ideal, but you get Florida State in your backyard at noon. It shouldn't matter whether you play them at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. or at noon or midnight, at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. Should not matter. Okay? I went and I asked two guys with intimate knowledge of the workings of Las Vegas today. And would you believe I got the exact same number for both? I said, what is home field advantage at night worth relative to home field advantage at noon? You know what they said? 0.3 points. Folks, you guys are complaining about 0.3 points. So if Clemson was favored by 3 in this game at noon, they'd be favored by 3.3 points at night. Get off of it. Okay? Stop it. The last time you guys had a noon game in a big game, it was one of the worst collective atmospheres I've ever seen. Okay? Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to MDVGA. Make Death Valley great again. I was there last year for the noon kickoff against South Carolina. November 26, 2022. You may remember what happened in that game. And the atmosphere that day was not it. The noon kickoff is no excuse whatsoever. Bring the noise. Your team needs you. And of course, I'm, getting the predictable replies. I'd say the atmosphere was pretty good that day to me. I was there. It sucked. It was arrogant. It was beachy. It had a vibe of a picnic, as if there was no chance whatsoever that Clemson would lose. Fans behaved like they were attending a party. That party became a funeral, courtesy of your hated rival. Folks, no excuses. If you have enough of a voice to talk to your wife on Sunday, you did not do your job on Saturday at the game.
Some of you would rather not talk to your wives on Sunday.
That's right. If you're a wife and you have enough of a voice to talk to your husband on Sunday, you did not do your job at the game. All right? Come on. The football staff at Clemson, stop playing Beach Boys on the scoreboard. Okay? You guys are responsible for creating the intensity and the urgency and the intimidation factor as well. Florida State doesn't want to step into a hyper-intense atmosphere for 4 hours. Okay? They want it to be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. You control that. So step up for your team. Clemson fans, do you accept the challenge? And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. The carpro.com text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. You can get to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate, at Diesel on Radio, at Mark Ryan on Air, at The Fan Upstate on all 3 media entities. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and finally email. You guys can all email the show Mark Ryan. That's M-A-R-C Ryan at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Lawton Swan, ClemsonSportsTalk.com joins us next. And how about your chance to win a $100 gift card? $100 gift card to Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing coming up at 5:40 this afternoon. This would be the time, if I were you, that I'm calling to get myself in queue. I want to go first. You can guarantee you're first if you get yourself in queue right now. That's next here on Offsides, the Fan Upstate.
Stream, great job as always today. Even though Madcraft and JD are lobbing bombs at me right now, whatever. I'll get you back next week on the 2-minute drill contest at at Dave & Buster's. It was a blast. Hopefully all of you will join me Sunday from 2 to 3 is when I'll be there.
Guys, yeah, I'll be at Clemson on Saturday. Can you believe it? Got my press credential. We're ready to go. Cannot wait. Thank you so much for what you do each and every day on the YouTube feed, man. We truly do appreciate it. But remember, when we're off the YouTube feed, the show isn't over. We still got 100 minutes left of great content coming your way, beginning with Lawton Swan right now. And if you want to win a $100 gift card to Smith & James, you'll have a chance to do it in 20 minutes. We'll see you guys tomorrow.